Welcome to CrossFit Resolve Home Mobility. We've got Travis H donating his time today just to film another short 30-minute class. All the just take another couple of breaths here. Fantastic, guys. Just taking your last couple of breaths here. And then once again, we're going to slowly make our way back to centre, onto our back. Drawing the knees into the chest, taking another squeeze here. Deciding if you'd like to take the nose to the knees if the neck is okay, or just staying down. Whatever feels right, that's the best indicator. Fantastic. And just coming into our last couple of breaths here. And just being really conscious with the movements now. So moving the feet back first, or the shoulders, but just move one completely back to centre and then the other back to centre. And you're welcome to take a couple breaths here. So drawing the arms down, taking the feet wide. together. If you've got a tight lower back, I definitely recommend knees together. So as you can see, working the bottom back to the heels, Travis has already done that. Extending the arms wide, or forward, sorry. You can take them shoulder width or wider, whatever feels good for you. And just lowering the forehead to the ground. So if that's uncomfortable for the neck, obviously you could use a cushion off the lounge or whatever you've got available, a block if you've got it, a roller. Might have a couple of plates borrowed from the gym stacked up. And what we often notice here is that when we move into a couple of minutes, we'll hold some tension in the hip flexors. So I want you to keep checking in with the groin. Someone ordering Deliveroo. Keep checking in with the groin and just see if you are actually holding on in the pose. So see if you can release just a little deeper, a little deeper. I'd recommend checking in on the inhale and then seeing if you can release on the exhale. Be around that's not on quarantine, then you can get them to help you. For here, we're just going to do the single. So you can see that Trav's started with his right calf. He's got the left leg on top, so we're in control of the pressure here. And we're just making sure, it doesn't matter if you start top or bottom, but we need to work from the heel up to just below the knee. And we're going to do that over about another minute. So don't dick around, spend a little bit of time on one spot and then move up or down. This would be a perfect pose that if you wanted to spend longer here, you would just pause and then when you're ready, come back. Using the breath if you find an area that's quite tight, so an exhale will help with that. And then also if you do find an area that's tight, maybe taking a little bit more weight into the calf, holding for a moment. Remember we can floss up and down side to side. It may be that you find an area that you need to release a little bit more, and if you've got a tennis ball, trigger ball, golf ball, something that's round, that you transition to that for a little bit of fascial release. So like we would with the massage. Beautiful. And then once you're done on one leg, you're just going to change legs. There's no rush. And repeat on the other side. About another 40 seconds so we can transition up the leg, finding those areas that are tight, digging in a little more, using the exhale to release. About another 15 or so seconds, so a few rounds of breath. Alright, and once you're finished, if you need to spend a couple more breaths, do that, and then join us when you're ready or hit the pause. Done with the roller for now, so just placing it to the side or behind you, so as long as it's out the way. We're going to transition to a standing hamstring and back release. So making your way to stand, just being conscious that we've been sat most of this time. You'll probably lose Trav's head, that's okay. Beautiful. And we're going to come, if you just turn side on to the camera, Trav. Just going to take the feet slightly wider than the hips. And then we're going to come into a standing forward fold. So we want to bend the knees to start off with. And then roll the spine forward, trying to get the belly to touch onto the thighs. Now you can either let the hands hang, or you can cradle opposite elbows, whatever feels nice for you. What we want to look at doing eventually is trying to straighten through the hamstrings, or simply to hold and dangle here. So this is a yin pose, so a more of a fascial release type pose in yoga, and we would hold this up to 5 minutes. We're not going to do that today. Really fantastic to stretch out through the hamstring, but also really good for the low back. So I've had a lot of clients over the years who I get them to do this first thing in the morning when they get out of bed, aiming to start with a minute and then slowly transitioning. And that's simply because we don't stretch through our psoas and through our hammies and glutes enough, particularly if we sit at a desk. So we don't lengthen as we stand. The psoas attaches to our T12 and then down into the groin. And if we don't stretch it and sit up nice and straight, it means that we're constantly almost in a forward fold, and the psoas just gets tighter and tighter. So you can dangle the arms, cradle opposite elbow. I like to take the hands behind my calves and hold the opposite calf to the hand. That's just the variant that I like, but you can do what feels good for you. And we're going to aim to hold here for another 10 seconds, so a couple of breaths. I'm going to do one after this that's really great for our neck, called our rabbit pose, which is great for the neck, the upper neck, and the back as well. So a couple of poses here for the back. Alright, and then rather than coming to stand all the way up again and risking being dizzy, we're just going to transition back to hands and knees. So you can bend at the knees, slowly lower back to our hands and knees, and let's, for our spine, run through a few rounds of cat-cow. So I'll let Trav do that in his own time as we transition through our cat pose. So that's an inhale, and then exhale into our cow pose. So let's do 2 more rounds here. Alright, and then getting ready to transition into our rabbit pose. So what we do here is we take the head down, so crown of the head down to the earth. We reach back and hold onto our heels. So if you can't reach your heels, you would take, so just draw your head back closer to your knees if you can, Trav. We hold on to the heels nice and firmly, and then we try and roll further onto the crown of our head. Of course, we won't be able to get any further because we're holding tightly onto our legs. If you have trouble reaching your heels, you could use a strap or a belt just to make sure that you are getting the pose and the rounding out through the spine really nicely. You're wanting to pull up as hard as you can onto the ankles or the heels as you constantly try and roll further onto the crown of your head. And you'll feel that nice release down there into the cervical spine. And we're just holding here for another 15 seconds, a couple of breaths. This one's really nice for the people that have tight shoulders. I have really tight shoulders with the ergonomics at my computer desk, so I find this really relaxing when I hold onto my heels and roll as far forward as I can to get through the top of my trap. Beautiful, and then we're going to transition back onto our bottoms. Trav's going to face the camera now, sitting cross-legged or having the legs out in front, whatever feels good for you. And then transitioning through center, chin all the way to the chest. If you're wanting to use the hands at the back of the head to help guide the neck forward, you can do that option. Only if that feels nice for you. Don't obviously reach the neck forward. And then drawing the head to center once again, taking 3 shoulder rolls with the shoulders back. Taking your time to draw the shoulders down. And then we'll take 3 to the front. Beautiful, and that's us done for today, guys. So thank you once again for Travis for volunteering his time. Still need lots of people to volunteer their time for half an hour. Namaste from Travis. So if you've got some time, and you can meet me in New Farm Park or the likes. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, bye from us. Check in with each other, ask your colleagues, ask your friends and family if they're okay. Are you okay? And stay strong, wash your hands, and stay at home if you're sick.